Hi everyone, this is Carrie and you are watching Getting Crafty with Carrie. And today we are going to learn how to make these giant Rubik's Cubes. So, I was commissioned as part of my work to do a bunch of decor for an 80s themed crab feed. So I'm making these big Rubik's Cube boxes. I'm doing some like Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man, doing a Ghostbusters sign and a big 3D MTV sign. But while I was making all of these, because it was a relatively simple craft, and you never know, you might want to have a time where you're making a Rubik's Cube, I wanted to show you how easy it is and how quick it is to put together. And so today I'm doing a quick tutorial on how to make one. So you only need a few supplies to make this. The first thing that you're going to want to get is a 12 by 12 box. I purchased this at my local postal annex. However, you can get them online, you can get them at Walmart. You know, they're only a few dollars a piece, but I purchased boxes that were 12-inch boxes because they fit my scrapbook paper perfectly. You're going to need to have 5 pieces of black 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, and then you're going to be making a whole bunch of little squares that will wind up being your little Rubik's Cube squares. So because you don't want them to cover entirely your 12 by 12 piece, you're going to need to cut them a little bit smaller for when you're arranging them. So what I did was I cut each square at 3 3/4 inches. I have a cutter. I've had this cutter for years. It's from Creative Memories, and I have put it to work. So the first thing is you're going to want to cut squares for each side. You're going to need 9 squares for each side. And the reason why I'm only doing 5 and not 6 squares is because I'm not going to decorate the bottom. On the ones that I've already made, I did decorate the tops, and the reason why is because as people are walking by and stuff on this display, they will be able to see the top, and I don't want them to see the cardboard. But the bottom, obviously you can't see, and it helps it to sit more flat. So, for the sake of time, I went ahead and I cut most of my squares in advance, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what it is that I did. So, again, what is 9 times 5? What is that? 45? I'm not very good with math. So you're going to want to have at least that many squares. And the way that I did it was I picked out colors that are on a Rubik's Cube. You can obviously use whatever colors you want. So we have red, we have blue, yellow, green, orange, white, and I think I said blue. Anyway, there's 6 different colors on a Rubik's Cube. So I basically have a whole big old stack. So after you've cut all of your squares, you're going to take your 12 by 12 piece of paper. And the way that I did it was I used a 2-sided like tape runner. There's lots of different brands out there. Depending on the supplies that you have, you can use a glue stick, you can use a 2-sided tape, you can use little foam dots, but the fastest way to do this was with a tape runner. Now, because these, obviously making this many would use an enormous amount of adhesive and could be costly for your tape runners, because this 2-sided tape is pretty good with just flat paper, I am just going to put a little bit on each corner. So I'm going to have you just kind of watch me, but the basic steps are we're going to fill up these 5 pieces of paper with these little pre-cut squares that we have. So as you can see, I'm basically holding up for you so you can see I'm just doing like the little corner so that I get an even and, you know, secure hold on the paper, but I'm not using like this huge amount of adhesive. So while I'm doing this, I can kind of talk a little bit. I have a Facebook page. It's called Carrie's Creations, and you'll find it by typing that in Facebook, and you'll look for the same logo that's here on my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to go in there and take a look. You can see all the pictures of everything that I make. So when I am done with this whole project, and I have like the other items made as well, you can take a look in there and see how the whole thing turned out for this lady's event. So when I am putting, let me move this. When I'm putting these squares on, it's usually good to do the corners first and allow yourself maybe like 1/8 of an inch around the edge. And then you can kind of balance the center. Otherwise it can start getting crooked. So I usually start with the corners. Then that way when I'm placing the other one, I can kind of center it to where it has an even space in between. But can you see how this is kind of going to come together? So there's no specific pattern that you need to make these in. You can do some of them where there's some of the colors are next to each other, or you can mix them all up, but the idea is it's a Rubik's Cube in progress. So we're going to basically make 5 sheets of these. My goal is to, this is my first video on YouTube, so it's just a really quick and easy DIY project for your parties, but I will be adding lots of different videos. Hopefully my intent is to add one every week, and I will be doing a variety of DIY projects, craft projects, maybe throw in a couple of cooking things. I will be doing some tutorials on some of the tools that are common in people's crafts rooms, how to use a Cricut machine, how to use some of the die cutters that are out there, some tips and tricks. I also, like I said, have a Facebook page where I do all of my sales from, and I do event and home decor, and from that page you'd be able to see thousands of pictures of my previous work, so you can use that also for your inspiration. I am not someone who is proprietary. I answer questions. If you have any questions or need help with anything, I'd be happy to answer that for you. But I also take orders from there. And then once a month from my Facebook page, separate from YouTube, I do a live craft. And it's a time where you can craft along with me. There will be an opportunity for you to get your supplies in advance. You'll know what I'm making a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before. It's once a month on the first Thursday of the month. And you'll get a chance to make a lot of fun stuff. Some of the projects that I do from there will include like a kit that you can get in advance from me, or you can purchase the supplies yourself, because sometimes if you have a well-stocked craft room, you should have all the stuff on hand, or at least most of it. So sorry if I'm not really looking up at you. I'm just trying to get all these little squares in place. Like I said, there's no set rules of like what colors need to go next to each other, because like a Rubik's Cube seems to be unsolved all the time. So we don't want to worry about straight lines. But you can do straight lines if you want. If you wanted all the white or all the red in a row, you could do that. So it looks like it's kind of getting close to being solved. 2 more pages and then we'll be done. But I just wanted to kind of let you visually see the steps for how I do this. And it's a relatively quickie. Obviously making 10 takes a lot longer. But once you have everything all prepped and you have all your squares cut and everything's built and ready to go, then obviously this part goes kind of fast. So again, this is going to be used as a decoration. It's actually being a decoration at a crab feed here in a couple of weeks. So a client commissioned me to make a whole bunch of these for her, which I was really excited to say yes to. Let's see, let's do a orange one up here. Just kind of spread them out. Let's put a couple of white ones next to each other. Almost hit there. Alright, so we got one more sheet. Alright, we got one more to go. And then we can do the next step. Oops, I almost started putting adhesive on the main page. That wasn't smart. So I would love it if you would subscribe and like my video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my video, share it if you like it, and then come back often to see, you know, new videos that are open and available for you. If you have a suggestion of a craft that you would like to see me make or that you would like a tutorial of, please say so in the comments, and I will definitely read them and make notes of what people are interested in, and I will do my very best to do a tutorial on those things. I know that there's a lot of tutorials out there, and there's a lot of techniques and different ways to do things, and everyone's always searching for easy ways, but also something that is going to look really nice when you're done. So please tell me what it is that you're interested in having a tutorial on, because I'd love to accommodate. Okay, so we now have our 5 Rubik's panels done. And the way that I'm attaching them, again for the sake of not using too much adhesive, if you were going to have to like 2-side tape a 12-inch box on every side, you're going to be using so much and it would get really costly. So the way that I've done it, and the way that I think looks great and works well, is I have used these like 2-sided little foam sticker pads. You can get them in a variety of places. They are at craft stores. They are at even the 99-cent or Dollar Tree. You can sometimes find them. They may have to be cut yourself versus pre-cut like these. However, you can get them relatively inexpensively. And I'm just going to basically put one on each corner and one in the middle, just to kind of give it some balance for its sticky. And I'm just going to peel off the second side. And you know, you don't have, this is going to kind of raise it off the box a little bit, but again, you can adapt this any way you like. You could use a 2-sided tape, you could glue it. I don't recommend the glue just because it doesn't keep a smooth look if it hasn't had a chance to really be weighted down. Okay, so now I'm going to start covering each side of my box. So I'm going to start with my top first. And I just kind of set it and center and just kind of push down on those little 2-sided things, and boom! Rubik's Cube side. And now I'm going to do that on the other 4 sides. So real easy. Doing our little foam squares. And I know some people are probably like, why does she have a YouTube video of how to make a Rubik's Cube? I figured someone probably wants a tutorial of that. And since I was making so many, I thought I'd share what I was doing. Alright, so we're going to put on this one. I got another one on, so we got 2 sides. Very cool. 3 more to go. Yeah, my videos are going to be all kinds of different things. Some of them will be random, some of them will be common things that you can find other tutorials for, but like I said, everyone has different techniques. Doesn't mean that my way is always the best way for you, but the way that works for me, I would still love to share it. These little stickies really like to stick on the opposite side. I have like no fingernails, so they don't want to peel off. Alright, let's do this next side. And again, I'm just kind of lining it up to the side of the box and then pressing it down. Coming along. And then we got 2 more. Come on now. Sometimes these things don't like to peel off because I don't have long fingernails. When you work with your hands a ton, you can't keep like a really nice manicure. I'm always jacking up my hands. All right, so I've got 4 of the 5. I got 1 more side to do, and then we can add them to complete this project. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, I would love it if you subscribed and followed my YouTube channel. It's in its infancy right now because obviously this is my very first video to post. But my goal is for it to grow and that it will become a big library of DIYs for you, for your craft projects over time. My goal is to add 1 video at least a week in 2019. So if that's the case, then we should hopefully have about 50 videos by the end of this year. So wish me luck. And again, make sure that you comment on what kind of projects you would love for me to share with you. All right, we've got 1 more on here. It is that easy. I've made a giant Rubiks Cube. Don't you feel like you're back in the 80s? All right, so we're gonna add these over here to our stack. And these guys are ready to party down. And I appreciate you being here and crafting with me. And I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you. I'll see you later.